that last one. My next guest, this is not a trick, this is a treat. Just a pure joy treat. 6-time first-team All-Pro, Hall of Famer, Vikings legend, NFL legend, John Randle. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm great because you're here, and I'm great because I could watch that all day.
Oh my God.
You know, they have those master classes now. You got to teach one on trash talking, John.
I should, but I'm embarrassed by all that stuff because, yeah, it's the game has changed, and I kind of have to relive all those bad memories of how I treated players and treated guys, and you know, I just try to. I'm just such a different person from what I was on the football field. So, you know.
What are you embarrassed? You're embarrassed by hearing that stuff, and what?
Yes.
Okay. So when you look
by
back,
hearing it.
Yeah.
By hearing it, and it just kind of going back into where the person who I used to be as a football player, and just kind of embarrassed by it because I've run into a lot of legends today, and that's the first thing they want to talk about is how I was as a football player then. I'm like, hey, I'm not that guy anymore. So let's move on. It's 2024 or 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, but.
So wait, what is the lesson in it? I'm so curious. When you look, what is the lesson that you would say to a young defensive player who wants to have a Hall of Fame career?
I would tell them to, first of all, realize that you're trying to do something that there's so many other people who also want to do it too. Mm-hmm. Second of all, tell them that there will be a lot of sacrifices that you're going to have to make into trying to fulfill your dream. I mean, hanging out with your friends when you should be more focused on the game, getting better at the game, focusing on your skills, your assets of being a better pass rusher. I mean, working on your moves every day, things of that nature. Watching a lot of films on yourself, things that you do good, things that you do bad, and trying to improve on those bad things. Because once you get in the National Football League, I mean, every week you're playing against some of the best players who've ever played the game, and you've got all pros, all Pro Bowlers. So you want to be out there giving it your all because they're like I said, they're some of the best players, and you just want to make sure that to be in the top percentage, you got to go out there every week and give it your all.
You gave it your all, and then you also trash talked and did all of that stuff. So I'm trying to think, all of the success you have, a gold jacket, do you have that without the research you put into trash talk, the reading the bios, the persona you put on, the fear you instilled in the Dilfers of the world? Like, that's sort of what I don't, do you have that gold jacket if you aren't that John Randle?
No, I wouldn't. I had to be that John Randle to have success on the football field. I had to go into another zone, be a guy that, from being undersized out there playing against guys 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", and being undersized as weight and height, I had to be mean. I had to be nasty. I had to go out there and just play 110%. And like, for instance, on my football shoes, I wrote the word finish. Every time I felt tired, I would look down at my shoes and see the word finish, and would push me to go back out there every play and to give it my all, because I wanted those guys who I played against to remember who you played against. I wanted them to, when they saw me the next time, have fear and to, in some ways, feel as if that they were going against somebody who had nothing to lose, and that I wanted you to see me as the best ever. And so that when you played against me, man, you were going to remember it, and you were going to tell other guys that, man, that guy, he knew about my wife, my kids. He knew where I lived, my hobbies. And he knew if I was left-handed, I was right-handed. And he gave it to me every chance he had.
There's nothing embarrassing about that, John.
No, but it's when I run into a lot of legends, several guys. I mean, one guy I ran into down in Miami, he told me, you said things to me as a rookie that traumatized me. I'm like, well, I'm sorry.
Who?
No name, but I'm just telling you. So I I love the game of football, the NFL, and all the relationships I have. But
Yeah.
I run into a lot of guys, and they just want to bring up that. I'm like, okay.
But I'm trying to understand because this is just fascinating to me. But I don't think. I mean, I'm not speaking for you, but when I look at it, you shouldn't be embarrassed because what happens on the field does not define you as a person.
No, correct.
And you're also saying that I needed to be that. And I think the coolest thing about it is that you're able to flip a switch. I love that you were able to flip a switch. The best, the greatest, the Yellow Jackets all can flip a switch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I understand. And I've had this conversation with Ennis Smith, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, and we all said the same thing and about giving it your all, leaving it all out on the field, and saying that when you're on that field, man, you went to another place. And when you come back, but a lot of guys, they only saw you as the football player. They really didn't get to see you as my teammates saw me. And the things like, for instance, my teammates and I, some of us watching soap operas, and they knew you as a different person. So it's.
What do you wish? What do you wish your opponents knew about you back then? I mean, you wouldn't have changed. You didn't want them to know that you were some fuzzy teddy bear back then.
Right.
So what did they get? What do you think people get wrong, I guess? Or what would you like, instead of a montage of you trash talking, what would have been your dream way to come into the show today?
No, I'm okay with it, but if they just realized that I came in as a free agent, I wasn't the guy who was draft picked. So
you needed the motivation, you needed everything,
yes.
but that's why you're loved, and that's why your story is so incredible, and what you were able to do. I mean, I'm looking at this 1997 season, okay? And I didn't watch the season, okay? But when I look back at it, and when I think about it, you as a D tackle leading the league in sacks is crazy. 15 and a half. There's no D. I've never seen or read about or watched tape or seen highlights of any D tackle like you. You are truly one of one. 8 straight double-digit sack seasons. As a D tackle, how do you do that?
By trying to put your team on your shoulders, trying to do something that hasn't been done in Minnesota Vikings history, which was try to help my team get to the Super Bowl, feeling as if I had to be a leader, not talking, but as a player by going out and trying to just mentally and physically just try to help carry my team with Chris Carter, and just trying to go out there and just trying to be just trying to give it my all, because when you're playing in the National Football League, your career to me, 13, 14 years, it's a short time, but you want to try to accomplish things that, or you just want to be a part of history for an organization. So I knew if I could help get the Minnesota Vikings to a Super Bowl, that I would be part of their history forever. And that's what was always and still in my mind about what if we could have done that, how much more special our careers would have been. Because Chris Carter and I talk about this pretty much every time we get together about, we are around guys from Emmett, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and hearing those guys talk about the Super Bowl and saying, man, what if we could have done that? How much more special we could have made the
John,
Minnesota
and
Vikings.
Y'all came so close, like 98, 2000, it was there. That's probably what hurts even more, that you can look back and be like, we were right there.
Yes, we were. I mean, and still to this day, every time I hear that damn song from Will Smith about going to Miami, it brings up 98, and I'm like, man, just turn the radio off. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, man, those were some great teams. It's so fun to look back. By the way, that's a podcast I need to happen. You, Chris Carter, Michael Irvin. I'm sorry? Emmett Smith? That's something I need that in my life. We need y'all to start a TikTok or something.
Yeah, the guys who came close. I mean, when you talk to Bruce Smith, scoring 4 times and listening to them, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like 4 times. And it's just I think in Canton, what's missed is having the guys sit around and have those discussions about being so close, and hearing from older guys, even guys older than us, talk about how close they came, or from Carl Eller to Alan Page, just the history of the game, and listen to the guys tell you about what they were going through in the season, and just the difficulties that they faced, and how they dealt with adversity, from being not allowed to go to some hotels and still playing together. But just the history of the game is such a wonderful thing.
You're in, Eller and Page also so close. There's something to that. There needs to be a Canton podcast, some series. I'd like to host it. We can invite out. Well, I'll need your help because I don't exactly have you on speed dial, or Michael Irvin and company, or Paige or Eller. But we should definitely get into that. When I think of it, listening to you reminisce about this, the Vikings are just, I call them the most tortured fan base in the NFL.
Yeah.
Would you agree, and why?
I would agree, because our fan base is so loyal, and the other part about it, being so close to Wisconsin and having the Green Bay Packers and all their success.
That's so true.
That right there, for me, and in Minnesota, we have so many Packer fans that live here, and you see them walk around, and the Vikings could be playing New England Patriots, and the Packer fans come to Minnesota, and they're walking around with their Packer gear on, and it's just kind of like an open sword. They just kind of, but I think that's probably the hardest part, though, is Wisconsin so close, and all their years of success, and our Vikings fan, what we've been through, and not having the Super Bowl success that they have. I think for me, it's what's so hard about it, and
it's coming so close. It's the mini miracle for this. It's the, because the Packers thing. You and I never thought you and I could relate on anything, because I'm not a D tackle that's led the double-digit sacks for 17,000 years in a row. But I grew up in Chicago. Okay. I feel the same wound, like growing up. But we didn't have a quarterback. We had a revolving door. We were never that close. I mean, no, we weren't. At least in my lifetime, we have not been close. The Vikings are always there through the 90s, and it's always just a heartbreak. They get to the big game, but not the biggest game, not that top moment. So and I got to ask you this, because the heartbreak stuff, it's kind of creeping in right now, I imagine, with this Vikings fan base. You start hot, 5-0, you drop back-to-back now, can't lose a third. But I imagine if you're a Vikings fan, you're like, oh, it's about to all come apart, maybe. It's about to all come apart.
Well, I always do. I kind of look at the season in a three-part. October, trick or treat. Fair. November, being thankful. Then December, that's the month where you get gifts, and the gifts are just not at Christmas time. If you're staying healthy, you possibly get a chance to go into the playoffs, and that's how I see the season. But I think a lot of teams in the beginning of the year, they kind of come into a lot of hype, but you just think, okay, we're doing well, and that's it. No, you gotta go through November, then you got December. But I'm not giving up. I'm truly a Vikings fan. I do my Purple Friday every Friday on Fridays to represent the Vikings, but I still think our team, we have some younger guys on our organization, and I think that, and we don't have the veteran defensive ends from losing Danielle Hunter, having guys that kind of tell our younger players what it's like to be a Minnesota Vikings, one. Two, and what it's like to going through that. Now, these young guys have to step up and be captains or just leaders, but to let them know what it's like when you're a leader. You're going to face adversity, but you got to stay with it, not give up, and keep pushing yourself.
Now, I'm listening to you, and you're calling them young. We got to figure it out. You're believing in them, but let's dig into that. Why do you feel this team is different? I'd love for John Randle, a Hall of Famer, to tell me the ceiling for the 2024 Minnesota Vikings. What's the ceiling?
I believe they can take the team wherever they want to go. It's up to the players, and I kind of look back at Tom Brady when he was at Tampa and how they started out not so well. And I just think it's the players' belief. When you believe, you will achieve. And I'm never going to doubt my Vikings. I believe it. I support them in whatever decision that they make. And, that's a way I think for a guy like me who come in as a free agent and you get a chance to play for an organization like the Minnesota Vikings who gave me a chance, I have nothing but gratitude and appreciation and loyal support to them because when I first come into the league, nobody really believed in me, but they did. And so I'm not a player anymore. I'm a fan and I support them.
I love that. And you believed in your teams and you were there. I'm thinking of, the Gary Anderson missed kick and you guys would have been right there and they were so close and all these things. And, so I don't know if I believe your whole, it comes down to belief because there's so many things that affect a game and things that can be tweaked and all that. Is there something, what do you need to see? What do you need to see? Whether it's this week, I'm trying to think of who they got in the game. I have it right here. Who do they have? They have the Colts.
We have the Colts.
Oh, yeah, Sunday Night Football. What do we need to see? What's one thing you'd like, maybe not to change, but one thing that will give you all that you need to know that this team is legit and special and different than the others, even the ones you played on?
I think us being able to run the ball is a big part of it because
great one.
When you're running the ball, that gives the offensive line confidence. That keeps the offense out in the field. That keeps the defense rested. And that kind of gives you momentum because when you got that running game, that opens up the passing game. And scoring points. And I think our defense will excel when we are scoring points. And it gives you momentum, but it also gives you that feeling that you are doing well and everybody gets confidence out there. And we know defensive linemen love rushing the passer. And so you get a chance to rush that quarterback, and man, that takes the opposing team offense, makes them want to throw the ball more. And we got Joe Flacco coming in.
Yeah.
And we know that the Colts are having a little confidence problem. We've seen that from what the other quarterback was saying. So, it's a good game. It's a good game for us to come out, get some confidence, get a W, and get back on track.
Gotta run the ball. Colts run defense is 30th. They gotta run the ball successfully and they get the win. That's a legend saying it. And John Randle, I have one more for you, just because. Okay. Your trash talking is I miss what you broke my heart a little bit when you came on and said you're embarrassed by it because it's truly just incredible and it needs to exist and I love it. And you got away with a lot, Randle, back in the day. I'd like to read you the word for word current rule for taunting. Okay?
Let me hear it. Go ahead.
Here it is. I think we have it here. Using baiting or taunting acts or words that may engender ill will between teams. So that'll get you 15 yards the first time. It gets you thrown out the game the second. What do you think, and how many games would you have been ejected from in one season?
Oh, man. I would have got ejected a few times. But you know what? Here's one for you, too.
Okay.
Now they allow the face paint. Everybody's got face paint on left and right. And I'm like, they find me, every week for face paint.
How much do you okay, no, stop. How much do you think you paid total, net, in face paint fines? Oh, my God.
Probably over, maybe about 100-some thousand. But it was worth it, though. It was worth it. It helped. Hey, I did what I had to do for my team.
That's my guy right there.
I did what I had to do for my team.
I love that face paint equals 15 and a half sacks in 1997. I love that. Oh, we have a guest on this Halloween. Happy Halloween. Who do we have here?
Trick or treat.
Who could that be? It sounds like such a lovely voice. Let's welcome in Mike Singletary. Ooh. Good morning to you. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Amazing. You two have met each other on the field once or twice or 6 times.
A few times.
Yes.
John's over here saying, John Randle's reliving a memory lane and saying that he wishes he wasn't so tough on the field, that he wasn't so talkative. What do you think about that, Singletary?
You know what? I heard some of it, some of the interview, but I think John did whatever he needed to do in order to be ready to go and play at the level that he was able to play at.
Thank you. Yeah.
We
Comes from, that
love
comes
hearing
from Mike.
this.
That means a lot. Yeah.
What do you think of the taunting rule, Mike? I'd love for you guys to just, how are you feeling about this NFL season? We got corners taunting fans. We got quarterbacks tapping out. What do you think?
I just think that it is a different game. It really is. It's a different game. The thought process is different. The fan is different. The players are different. It is a different game, and the officiating is definitely different. I think that, some of the ruling in the games today, it is what it is. Some of it I think is very good. Some of it I think is unfair. But as time goes on, I think where the NFL is going, what they're trying to do, at the end of the day, you're just trying to protect the player. But consistency is the word that needs to be used. And right now it's just not consistent. And I'm hoping that they develop a system where it's not only consistent, but it's fair across the board. The referees, I think, in many cases, are not aware of some of the things that some of the results of some of the things that are happening on the field. They're innocent. They're just calling what they're paid to do. It's not their fault. Some of us just need to have a better understanding of the result of what we're calling. But it is what it is.
John?
Well, I agree with Mike. I mean, the game is safer. We're trying to protect the players. Lesser concussions, and I think in the long run that helps out all the guys. And if that's the route we have to take to protect the players, then that's the route we have to take. I see a lot of guys that I played against or played with, and I notice a lot of guys are not doing so well. But with all the new helmets we have helmets for offensive linemen, helmet for defensive linemen, helmets for quarterback, and they're protecting the players. And we played in the era of the 80s, 90s, where the game was a little different. And but now the game is safer, and we have more people watching the game, more people participating in the game. We now have flag football, and but I'm okay with the direction that the game is going. But I agree with Mike about the referees, because the Minnesota Vikings, we had a little play last week where the referee missed that face mask, and so.
I think the word unfair, like we just want it to be fair and consistent, sounds right. We're going to take a short break. General, do not log off the Zoom yet. I have to ask you one question before you go. We'll be back with Coach Singletary after this on the Halloween of an Adams. Okay, I can't let you both go without getting from two of the more intense guys in the league. I need to know, and I'll start with you, John. You were two known scary players, scary characters in the league. Who, John, would you say is that guy for you? I'm dying to know. Who's
Scariest player?
Who's a nightmare?
I would say Larry Allen for the Cowboys. We used to battle. I got my 100th sack over Larry Allen, but Larry was such a different player because he didn't talk. And I would try him multiple times to try to get something out of him. And he would come on the field, he would have a dip in his mouth, and he would be drooling, and the dip would come running out of his mouth, down his face, on his jersey. And he kind of reminded me of like Jabba the Hutt, because he was kind of smile and jiggle, and it would just run down. But he was such a different guy, but so strong. I mean, he bench pressed 692 pounds. And like I said, we would battle. I would get a sack. He would knock me down. I would come back. But facing Larry Allen, you had to be very precise on where you stepped. You had to make sure that you didn't swim Larry Allen, because if you tried to swim in, you could maybe have a rib or two broken. And but man, he was such a dominant player. And but I always made sure that when I played Larry Allen, I was at my best.
An absolute legend. Rest in peace to Larry Allen. Mike Singletary, who was that player for you?
Wow. I would say John Hanna. John Hanna was a guy that I played against early in my career. And John used all of his face mask. His face mask smashed his face. And he sounded like a Mack truck coming off the line, and he was on all four. And when I first came into the league, the first 2 or 3 years that I came into the league, it was still a predominantly run-first league. And so John Hanna was on all four, and he was coming at you every play. There was no ducking or dodging. You had to be ready, take it on, and let's go. But he was, to me, one of the most sound, physical, nasty guys coming off that line, and you had to be ready. His
last game was that Super Bowl against you in '85. So lots of love from him. Thank you so much, John. Great to see you. Happy Halloween.
I see you too.
Stay scary.